because I had the fortune to start a company when I was 16 years old, and that was exactly the mentality that I had. If I don't do everything well, if I'm not the person that has all the answers, I'm failing. And I was not the best student, so I didn't really stuck by the rules. And I think that's an interesting thing with you. What rugby taught you, and being in the
Marine Corps.
Yeah, taught you.
When we flew into combat, we flew in as sections of aircraft.
Right.
We flew
Together.
in as teams. That's the military.
Yeah. So what do you think are some of the lessons that you learned doing those things? Rugby, pilot.
Well, I look at most small entrepreneurs. I call it the selfie world. Like, oh, look at me. Oh, look at me.
Yeah. The Instagram entrepreneurs, especially. It's great. It's just great.
I'm the smartest. Oh.
Right.
And I want the smartest attorneys, accountants, bookkeepers, bankers, politicians. I come at it as a team. Just think about this. It's like a basketball team. They're playing basketball. But you went to Harvard. You have a master's, a PhD. But you're playing against five guys. I don't care how smart you are. Those five guys will kick your butt all day long.
This is not in the movies. Bruce Lee cannot really beat 10 people in real life,
That's right. But that's
in the movies, that's what's perceived. Like, if you're good enough, you can beat 10 people.
Yeah.
In real life, you're going to lose every
Not
time.
in the corporate world. So I operate according to the rules of corporate America.
Yep.
I don't operate according to the rules of employee America. They're different. The tax rules for corporate guys is less than employees. Employees pay the highest taxes.
Yeah.
Guys like Trump and me pay zero.
And people are angry at that, which is very interesting. People are very angry at people that don't pay taxes, which is, again, proof that people cannot wrap their heads around that.
Because they've been hypnotized. Go to school, get a job, work hard, pay taxes.
Yeah.
Until they change those words, their lives are not going to change. So they get angry, but they're angry at the words in their head.
Yeah. So what are some of the other things, some key points that we could talk about from your new book? Because I know Rich Dad Poor Dad, you probably talked so much about that. It's a great book. I've read it when I was 15, and it's amazing that you've made accounting so interesting.
Yeah.
It's like a combination between an amazing storyteller and accounting, which is not the combination you would think of. So
Right.
I think when I look at it, I think that's the reason I had so much success, because people devoured it like a story, but it was accounting. So you tricked them.
You're a very smart young man.
So you made them eat their broccoli by making it look
Yes.
like a Big Mac or something like that. It's amazing. So we're not going to talk that much about that. But what do you think are some key things that was the reason that you wrote this book, and some things that we can give people?
Well, if Rich Dad Poor Dad was high school,
Yeah.
this is graduate school.
Okay.
So it's basically saying many of the same things at a little higher level of thought. So a person should start with Rich Dad Poor Dad. If they don't like Rich Dad Poor Dad, they'll hate this book.
Perfect.
Because they went to school, they got a job, they're working hard, they're saving money, they're getting out of debt, and they're in the stock market.
Right.
They're getting screwed.
Right.
But if you want to find out why guys like me don't do that, then you read Fake. The biggest thing about fake is, the dollar became fake, the U.S. dollar became fake money in 71. But it's the fake teachers. Why would you listen to a poor person? Why would you listen to a poor person about money? And that was my poor dad, very good man, PhD, but he always says, go to school, get a job, work hard, pay taxes, get out of debt, and invest in the stock market. He's trying to hypnotize me. And my rich dad, thank God I had a rich dad, he goes, you gotta be an idiot to follow that advice. And so you're a very bright young man to pick up Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's only a book on accounting. My cash flow game is only a book on accounting.
That's a big way.
But if you don't know accounting, you don't have accountability.
Yeah.
You have accountability in your life. And then you can question when somebody tells you to invest in the stock market. I go, well, when do I get my money back? So in Fake, I talk about the infinite return. I never use my money. I don't need to save money. I use debt 100% of the time, and I don't pay taxes. So that's kind of what you find out in Fake. Fake money, fake teachers, fake assets. Because every time a teacher told me to get a job, I said, you gotta be kidding me. She goes, don't get good grades, you won't get a job. And I said, oh, that's good. I'm glad to hear that, And the teacher would go, nuts. And they go, why don't you want a job? Because I'll pay taxes then. You got to pay your taxes. And I said, well, what about this? So I took real estate courses, not because I like real estate, because real estate is about debt and taxes.
Right.
So the more debt I use, which is real money, debt is real money, the less tax I pay.
And especially with the interest rates right now, that were lowest in the last 5,000 years or something like that.
Money is cheap right now. Zero. Get it free.
Yeah.
Why would you save it? Why would you save it when they print it? It's until you question, and all the young people just question what's inside that head. Who hypnotized you?
Parents most of the time.
Yeah.
Most probably.
And were your parents rich or poor?
Probably poor. Well,
hard
probability,
working,
right?
paying taxes. They went to school. If you're middle class.
Yeah. So for the
Do you
people,
think Donald Trump's sons pay taxes?
none of them pay taxes.
No. Do you think they have jobs? No. In that book, I have Jared Kushner, who's Ivanka Trump's husband.
Yeah.
And the New York Times interviews him. The reporter is an A student, smart guy with a job, and he just can't understand how Kushners, who are richer than the Trumps, Jewish family richer than the Trumps,
Yeah.
how they get away with not paying taxes. And this reporter was going crazy. It's in the book, in Fake. He just couldn't understand it because he's been hypnotized. So it's a collision of ideas. So when I say I don't pay taxes, then this whole you're cheating, you're a crook, you're a criminal comes up. And then they can't hear me. And I talk about trading, investing. I invest as an insider. And for the average person who knows very little, they say, well, insider trading is illegal. No, it's not. But they've been programmed to think it's illegal. There are certain forms of investing where insider trading is illegal. But for the most part, it isn't illegal. But what fires off, because they've been hypnotized, oh, insider trading, he's a crook, and he doesn't pay taxes. Do you think I'd be writing about it if I was a criminal? So I wrote Fake so people could challenge the hypnosis in their brains, Go to school, work hard, pay taxes, get out of debt. I used debt as money, because in 1971, money became debt.
Yeah. So it seems like an underlying psychological problem more or less than information, because the information, it's available. You do such an amazing job. Well, you put your life against this goal, basically. And I'm curious about why you do that and why you continue to do it, because I think it's not intuitive to people. Like, he can make all this money and he spends his time with me in an interview teaching young people. Like, it's not exactly the most ROI use of your time, right? So if you look at it from the outside, but what do you think is so if I'm a young person listening, I'm going to listen to this. What do I have to do to break the hypnosis? Because most people that don't want to hear it will dismiss the message.
Yes.
So should I meditate? Should I spend time thinking about it? Should I just... Okay.
I love meditation. I think everybody should meditate, to cure the conflict that's going inside. Because I purposely say those things to create conflict.
Perfect.
Because if you don't change those thoughts, you'll wind up like my poor dad.
Yeah.
Very highly educated poor guy who worked very hard all his life. I felt for him.
Yeah.
Then he got fired by the people he challenged. And he found that his PhD meant nothing.
Yeah.
PhD always stands for poor, helpless, and desperate. So the moment they threw him out of the...
That's a great acronym.
So the moment they threw him out of the school system, he was like this stray dog who couldn't feed himself on the streets. The streets just ate him alive. Whereas an entrepreneur, I love the streets. It's like dog eat dog out there. It's fun. It's game. It's like playing rugby. But most academics can't play the game of rugby because it's too nasty. But some guys, I love the game.
Yeah.
I love sports.
I love it so much. That's amazing. And what do you think, for example, if you look against, we've been in the longest, growth period of ever. Where do you think? Why are you laughing?
Growth? Go ahead.
People look at it now, and because they're scared and they're safety oriented, thinking, "Oh, I couldn't really start now because there's a financial crisis coming.
Yeah.
So why would I start now?" So it's still the safety that they're looking for. So what would you think about, what would you say about that, about the financial crisis coming up? If, well, there should be some sort of corrections happening in the future.
Well, let me ask you this. If you had bought a ticket to get on the Titanic, right?
Yeah.
And you knew it was going to sink, what would you do?
Not buy the ticket.
Well, let's say you already bought the ticket.
Okay, I'll build the best boat to get out of it.
I would be getting ready to get off of it as possible.
Okay.
You know, I would be looking at life rafts and checking things out and, things like that.
Yeah.
Because we're going down. And this is the difference. Crashes make the rich richer. So what happens is an old saying in investing. The bear goes up, the bull goes up the stairs. There's bulls and bears, right?
Yeah.
So the bull goes up the stairs, the bear goes out the window. So if you want to get rich quick, I like the crashes.
Because you can buy low.
Oh, shit, it comes down so fast. So if you can do it in stocks, you can short the thing, you can do, naked put, yeah. You can be instantly putting. But it's slow going up, but it's fast when it crashes. So right now, if I was a young person, I'd be taking probably a stock options course to trade the market coming down, because you'll get rich faster that way. It takes about 5 years to practice that. But I love crashes. I get really excited about a crash. Unfortunately, most people get wiped out. But nonetheless, the facts are crashes make the rich richer. That's why fake is fake with facts.
Yeah.
So if you want to get rich quick, it's when the Titanic is going down, you can sell lifeboats.
That's a great analogy. And what do you like about your general purpose? And we're going to wrap up here in a couple of minutes. But about your general purpose, I'm really, really curious, because most people think, again, I'm trying to think from the perspective of the stereotype, of the conditioning, let's say. And most people think, well, if I'm as rich as Robert, why would I spend time doing all these things? Even so, why would I spend time educating people? And even so, why would I even work anymore? Because if I have enough money in my head, I'm done. I need to get a vacation in Hawaii, which is exactly the reason that they don't do that. But what drives you to keep doing what you're doing? And what's your purpose going forward? Because you don't have to do any of this. And I think it's important for people to grasp
You're a
that.
very smart young man.
Yeah. Well, I thank you.
No, you are. You're very intuitive. It's that I don't need the money. That's the reason I do it, I retired at 47. I had more than enough money. And people kept asking my wife, and I said, how'd you guys? She was 37. She didn't marry me for my money because I didn't have money when we started. I had lost some businesses before I met her. And we just made it back. So anyway, they kept asking us, how'd you guys do it? I said, do you have a job? No. Do you have a retirement plan? No. Did you save money? No. So they kept asking us, and we created the cash flow game so they could understand income statements, balance sheet statements of cash flow.
Which I highly recommend that I took that.
Yeah, the cash flow game is how you can have fun learning about the most boring subject called accounting. And you have fun. It's like playing Monopoly, but what makes rich cash flow different than Monopoly is a financial statement.
Yeah.
Because your banker only wants to see your financial statement. Banker doesn't want your grades or what school you went to.
Yeah.
They want to know your financials. So when the markets crash, my financials are so strong, bankers threw money at me. They still call me.
Because you're the only one that has good financial statements at that point. Well, there's a high percentage.
They know I can take their debt and make money from debt. The average person will take debt and lose money. So cash flow, the game, and your rich dad, poor dad, you take debt and make money. The average person takes debt and loses money. So they don't want to give you any more money. So that's what drives me on. So when I went to military school, I didn't go to regular school. Went to military academy in New York. The first lesson, the first word they teach us is, what's your mission? Mission. And mission is spiritual. So that's why when I graduated from military school, I didn't have to go fight, but I felt the need to go fight. So I joined the Marine Corps to go fight. And when I came back, my poor dad says, why don't you become an airline pilot? I said, go to school, get a job, become a pilot, because you can make a lot of money, and you pay a lot of taxes, and you can, I could hear the hypnosis coming in. I said, no, I'm not going to do that. So my poor dad says, go get my master's degree, get my MBA, which I started, a waste of time. And my rich dad said, you have to learn about debt and taxes. So I took a real estate course. I say the same thing. Take real estate courses, take stock trading courses, I take bond courses. I just learn about the game of money. It's a game.
And have some patience,
Yeah.
right?
It takes about 5 years to get good at anything.
Okay, perfect. Because that's a good expectation for people. People think that in 3 months they'll figure it out.
No.
Perfect.
If you're going to be a stock trader, it's 5 years and $50,000 minimum. That's what it'll cost you.
Which is less than 1 year of college,
Yeah.
usually at Harvard. So
Yeah.
it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, but you have to make mistakes to learn. But our schools punish you for making mistakes. And then they also punish you for asking for help because that's called cheating. I call it cooperation.
Yeah.
So everything is opposite from school. Entrepreneurs are not going to make good employees.
So you might as well think of your conditioning and do the opposite, and you're probably better off.
Well, you got to change, go to school, get a job, save money, pay taxes.
Yeah.
The question right now is, how do I make so much money? I use debt, and I pay no taxes legally. I said, I wouldn't be saying that if I was crooked about it. But I don't have to hide because I do it legally.
And you explain how that works in this book.
Yeah, as best I
Yeah.
can. My study has been a lifelong study. So I don't, I'm making money as we're speaking right now. I have 7,000 real estate properties. I have oil wells. I have golf courses. I have commercial buildings. So money's just pouring in whether I work or not. But I'm still studying because that's how the money keeps pouring in.
Yeah.
I'm watching the horizon. It's like on the ocean. It's like, where's the next storm coming?
Yeah.
Oh, like that.
Yeah.
Or like in the case of the Titanic, when's the next iceberg coming?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of icebergs right now, and we're all in this one big Titanic. And the question, right now, I'd be manufacturing lifeboats.
Yeah, for a living, for sure.
Yeah.
So, two things, and we'll end with this. One thing, and I was really fascinated, I think you spoke about it in an interview about Jonathan Haidt's book, The Coddling of the American Mind. Is not the American mind, it's the coddling of everybody's mind, basically.
Correct.
And people are, my question would be, what would be your advice for people that are looking to really strengthen themselves and toughen up? Because that's, when people hear this advice and they go out in the world, and me included, but let's say I've done some sports, you've obviously had military training and all the things that I think evolved discipline in you, I'm thinking. But what would you be your advice to toughen up? Because otherwise, any challenge that faces you, you're just going to fade and go back to safety.
Correct. Well, I think that's one of the biggest problems is that people, the word is called resilience.
Okay.
If like the greatest athlete in my time is Tiger Woods.
Well, he just won a championship
Yeah,
again.
but he went way up, and he came down as, his wife caught him cheating, everything, the humiliation, and especially as a black guy cheating on a white woman. I had so many women get so upset, how dare you cheat on a white woman? White cheats. That's not
a thing to do.
What difference does it make? I just crack up at people. And then his back goes out, he has surgery. And after this long down period, he comes roaring back up to the top. And if you've ever been to Augusta, a golf course where the Masters is played, that is the toughest golf course I have ever seen. I don't know how those guys play that course.
Yeah.
You have to be a mountain goat to play that course, I mean, these guys are taking shots from down here, the green's up here. And these guys are going, so he came back. So if there's a story of resilience and determination and a comeback, it's Tiger Woods. I mean, my esteem, I'm in awe of that guy. He is really a great man to come from the top to the bottom, back to the top, And we all have that in us, except in school. So don't make mistakes. If you fail, you're stupid. Well, he came back. He made him stronger.
Yeah, good for him. So last question. What do you think, and thanks so much for your time, this has been amazing. So what do you think is there a chance for the education system of the future to actually create abundance, wealthy people, free people, and so on? Or should it be taken on to people like yourself that create kind of like private systems of education and spread the knowledge to people? What do you think about that?
Well, I'm doing it as a private citizen, and I stay outside the school system. But if you look at I think you read this book, I think you'll notice something that says fake money, fake teachers, fake assets.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's all one big system.
Yeah.
The only way they can pull off the fake money is by having fake teachers. And the only way you can buy fake assets is by having fake money and fake teachers.
So it's a very It's a very good reinforcing loop.
And that's why I'm just saying out here to the young people, question this, go to school, get a job, work hard, pay taxes, save money, get out of debt. Until that is questioned, and then ask the question, why would I be saying that at the risk of going to jail if it wasn't legal? That's the question. So guys, the rich get richer because what we do is legal, but you've been told it's illegal.
Amazing.
So not paying taxes is legal if you're an entrepreneur, but it's illegal if you're an employee.
Any last thing you think is worth mentioning to the people listening, the young people listening, and kind of trying to figure this out? And we'll end with that.
Well, I think the key is young people, because the system of fake money, fake teachers, fake assets, they screwed me, my generation. My generation is never going to retire. Their medical expenses are going to go through the roof just when America goes broke. But they didn't just screw the old guys, they screw the millennials. So they're coming out of school deeply in debt and still haven't learned anything about money. So the system of fake money, fake teachers, fake assets screws everybody. Not only in Romania, but all over the world. So that's really, if you can think, comprehend something that big, then you can make your own personal choices and changes.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Robert, for your time. To everybody that's listening, hope people act on this.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hey guys, this is Catalin, and I'm doing this really interesting giveaway. I just had an interview with Robert Kiyosaki, #1 best-selling author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I want to give away 10 of copies of his new book, Fake. Fake Money, Fake Teachers, Fake Assets. What you have to do is go listen to the interview. There should be a link somewhere for you to listen to it, and post on either Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever you want, or send me an email with your one takeaway from the interview. And I'm going to choose 10 of those at random, and we're going to give them one copy of his new book, Fake. So go ahead and listen to the interview. Let me know what you think of it. Leave a comment below in the interview, and post your takeaway and win a copy of the book. Thank you so much. Robert, thank you so much for being on with us today.
Thank you.
You're here today for a conference in Romania. I'm really excited to see how that goes, and thank you for being here. I think many people appreciate it.
Yeah.
One thing that I would like to start talking about, because as I was talking to you beforehand, our main audience is young people that are really looking for guidance on how they can become financially free and become free as people, and especially how things go on. They're very, very confused. So we were talking about the kind of emotional habits and how we were taught. So let's start with that. What do you think is the main problem that people have in their minds when it comes to the way they've been taught, and kind of like how they think about financial education as a whole?
That's Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a story about my two fathers. My poor dad was a school teacher, very smart man. And my rich dad never went to school. And so the information, so starting at the age of 9, growing up in Hawaii, the information was different. The advice was different. So I think most of your viewers out there is sitting inside their head are the words from their mother and father. Go to school, get a job, pay taxes, save money, buy a house because it's an asset, get out of debt, and invest in the stock market. That creates poor people. It's a hypnosis train going through your brain. So when people say, how do I change my life? Well, you change those words. I wouldn't go to school because you learn nothing about money in school. I wouldn't get a job because if I have a job, I'm an employee. And then I'd pay taxes. And I don't pay taxes. And I don't save money. And I use debt to get rich. And I don't invest in the stock market. That's why I'm rich. And so the young people who are listening right now are saying, but that's what my mom and dad said. But that's what mom and dad say all over the world. So to the young people, I just say challenge or question. Get a job, become use debt to get rich. Most people use debt to get poor and invest in the stock market. I don't invest in the stock market. So when you wonder why so many people struggle financially, is that a challenge? The hypnosis, the word, go to school, get a job, work hard.
I got me a oil lamp and
Question those hypnotic trance.
some
So when I was a little boy, I had
tea
poor dad and
candles.
rich dad, saying in your head, saying go to school.
Because
What a waste of time that is.
the oil lamp is hopefully the glass doesn't break, but because it's like such a big flame. But the oil lamp is to provide some heat if the lights go out. But then also the tea candles also do provide like 3 to 5 hours burning per candle, and it's like 100 tea candles for like $5. So those 3 to 5 hours should last through the night until the lights come on, come back on if they do go out. And I have some pots. Apparently you could put the tea lights in some pots, and the pots will get really hot, and then it'll provide you with some heat. That's just in case if like the lights went out or something. But if anything, we still have the cars, which are still good, which I had to do I think it was like 5 years ago. It was snowing outside, the lights went out, and I went into the car on the parking lot, not in the parking lot, like in front of the garage, and I was just like, I turned on the car, and there it was, a miracle in the snow, because in your own home, because the lights went out. So that's the way it is. I forgot to buy the cheese.